Does the sun usually go down here?
About 6:30. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Testing, testing. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes. On the back, everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. All right. Shall we get out of here?
Yes.
Oh, yes, 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 all round. How's that air conditioning? Would you like it up a bit higher, or is it okay?
Yes.
Up, okay.
No.
No? Oh my gosh. Now you're confusing me. Okay, well, welcome to the Alice.
I saw you, Jenny. Thank you.
I saw you all come in off the Melbourne flight today. I was there picking somebody else up and I saw you all. I thought that looks like a good bunch of people to take out for a barbecue.
How wrong you can be.
Jenny, you're not working with me very well there.
Kidding. They're the best group ever.
How long have you been together?
Too long. I mean, a week and a half.
The truth comes out. That wasn't just a Freudian
I was
slip.
going to say, when the tour director is chirpy, you've only been together a few days normally.
A week and a half. We started in New Zealand. We've been on the North Island, South Island, and then Melbourne, and then here.
Wonderful. So you saved the best to last.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, you couldn't get a much better day than this in the Alice, I reckon. Clear blue skies. There's a couple of white puffy clouds there. Now, our weatherman lives in Darwin, and about once or twice a week, just to keep us on our toes, he'll tell us that there's a 5% chance or less of 1 millimetre or less of rain in the Alice, which translates to mean at some point in the afternoon a white puffy cloud may go past. So this is our 5% chance of rain today, that puffy cloud over there to the west. So I don't think we'll need our brollies tonight. It's going to be a beautiful... Oh, I thought she was going to run out in front of me then, that lady.
She might have been.
She might... I think she was going to. That would have been interesting. So I think it's going to be a pretty sunset tonight. The scattering of cloud does bring that colour out a little bit nicer. So we'll get out to the quarry and we'll have a look at that sunset and get stuck into a barbecue.
Yeah.
Now, has Jenny told you anything about the barbecue tonight?
No, I kept it for you to do.
Kept it for me. Okay, surprise, surprise. How do you feel about camels?
They're delicious.
They're delicious. That's a good answer. We are not eating camels tonight. But I do have a very large steak with your name on it. Well, I have to share it. I'll give you all a fork. I'm joking. That's about the extent of my jokes now. Stop. So, you've had a bit of a tour around the Alice this afternoon.
Right.
We're going to head out to the southeast of the Alice to a place called Undulia Station. Now, on Undulia Station there's an old quarry where we used to quarry sand and rock, and that's where we're going to have our dinner tonight. It doesn't sound very romantic, does it? It looks very pretty though. Got lots of lights and a few sheets and tablecloths. Big Barbie. But it's very beautiful. You'll see the true colours. Now, Alice Springs or Central Australia is called the red centre of Australia, the heart of Australia. So, and you'll see those red colours tonight in the rock face as the sun goes down. As we're heading out through the gap here, I'll go slow if you like, those of you that have got cameras. This is called Heavy Tree Gap, and to the left of us at the moment is the Todd River. Now you're currently seeing that at low tide today. If you come back in January, it may get up to high tide, but I can't promise anything. We get about 200 millimetres of rain each year.
Translate that.
I don't know what that is in inches.
200 is about 8 inches.
About 8 inches? Thank you. I should research that, shouldn't I? About 8 inches of rain each year. 8 inches sounds more than 200 millimetres.
No.
No?
25 mils in an inch.
Okay, alright. 8 inches, I'll believe you.
25.4.
Sorry?
25.4.
25.4, there you go.
Oh God, don't get technical on me, Ross.
So our Todd River will flow about twice a year on average, and that average truly is average. In 2010 it flowed 13 times, and it didn't flow again for another 2 years after that. So when I say average, I really mean average. We're going through the centre of the McDonnell Ranges here at the moment. So heading west for 210 kilometres and then to the east for 210 kilometres. And the centre here is a natural gorge carved out by the Todd River over millions of years. I'll go a bit slow here through here for you. Take a few photos of those rocks if you like. Now they're on a bit of an angle there, and that's because of the big push up. Well, when all the lands moved, this all got pushed up on a bit of an angle there. Now I'm told it's 350 million years ago. My colleague Harry says it's 350 million and 35 years ago, because when he arrived in Alice 35 years ago, it was 350 million years ago then. So he's just adding on his years to that. So that was Heavy Tree Gap. Heavy Tree Gap was named by William Whitfield Mills. William Whitfield Mills was part of the party that came through with Charles Todd. And they basically looking at the areas to lay the telegraph line for outside communications. Now before I go on, I'll just get you all to lift your feet. We're about to go through the river here, and I don't want you to get your shoes wet. So this is the mighty Todd River.
That's amazing. We've got
Now it's actually an upside down river. Underneath us here we have the Amadeus Basin. So that's about, has anyone been to Sydney?
Not yet.
Not yet?
yet.
Alright, when you get to Sydney, underneath us here is 7 times the size of Sydney Harbour, full of fresh water. So the Todd River, the Hugh River and the Finke River are all flowing underneath us at the moment. When we get some rain, it all flows into those river systems, the water level rises and then flows above the ground like a regular river. So that's the Todd River. About twice a year that will flow. Now, as I was saying, William Whitfield Mills named Heavy Tree Gap after a town in the UK. He immigrated from the UK. He also named that river the Todd River after his boss, Charles Todd. And he also named Alice Springs. When he walked from Heavy Tree Gap up to where the telegraph station now stands, you went there today, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he sat on the banks of the river there, and it had actually been raining and the river had been flowing. And as the river hit that big bend, as the water hit the big bend in the river there, you saw the granite rock, hit that and it swirled around, made a big swirling motion like a natural spring. And he thought that was a natural spring feeding the river, and so named it Alice Springs. Now that was after Charles Todd's wife, Alice Todd. So that's how we get the name Alice Springs, a few names there. Now, as I was mentioning, we've got 3 river systems here, the Todd River, the Hugh River and the Finke River. Now the Scottish explorer that came through Central Australia was John McDowell Stuart, and he walked from Adelaide to Darwin. It's total just over 3,000 kilometres. What's that in miles? Does anyone know? 2,000 miles or so? Ish. There's an ish. So he did that walk 6 times. It was for 2 reasons: for the overland telegraph line for outside communications outside of Australia, and to find the Great Inland Sea. Now, powers that be thought Australia, being such a big country, had to have a Great Inland Sea. Of course we did, about 350 million years ago. So they were a bit late for that. Now, John McDowell Stuart discovered these upside down rivers actually quite early on in his expeditions. And what that allowed him to do was have smaller parties. So he didn't have to carry as much water, so he didn't need as many horses or as many men. So he could have a smaller expedition party, which means he could cover more miles each day and find more areas. On his 4th attempt, he got to the Central Australian area that you're in now. It didn't actually come to Alice Springs. He came through along the Hugh River, which is 60 kilometres west of here.
35 miles.
35 miles, thank you. I'm really going to have to research my miles and inches, aren't I? So he turned around because he got scurvy on this attempt. It was his 4th attempt. On his 5th attempt, he got to Attack Creek up north, and as the name suggests, he was attacked by Aborigines and had to turn back. And on his 6th and final attempt, he got to Darwin. He didn't even stay overnight in Darwin. He's carved his initials into a tree, dipped his toe into the water, and promptly turned around and went back to Adelaide. He handed in his notes and his journals, and he went back to the UK, unfortunately dying 3 years later. So that's a bit of a sad story, wasn't it? a look for some wallabies. Did you see any wallabies or Euros out at the telegraph station today?
We
Yes,
did.
we did.
Did? Excellent. I'm going to show you some more if they're here. I can't guarantee that they're here. We do try and slow them down a little bit by putting alcohol out into their water system, but they don't always drink it, so I can't guarantee it. Now the Euros are the largest of the wallaby family. So they stand about 4 foot tall, and they're the exact same colour as the ground and the bushes around them, so they're very, very hard to see. So we're looking out to the right hand side of the coach very shortly, and I'm going to try and concentrate on the road, but I will look for the Euros. If anybody else sees one, shout out nice and loudly, and I'll slow down as quickly as I can without giving you whiplash. And we'll have a
Do
look.
it as if we're looking at a clock. So if you see one at 9 o'clock, we'll all know to look out to the left. If it's 2 o'clock, to the right.
That's a good idea. Now, out to the right at the moment is the remnants of the old mine, just here. That's not where we're having dinner.
There's one up on the hill.
One up on the hill.
3 o'clock.
Oh, yes, I see.
Is he? Do you look at
It's just in the shadows there on that slope that's going up behind us. There's 2 there. Actually, there's one under the tree and one out in the open. Good spotting.
Tree
Well
just to the
done.
left, Debbie.
Can everybody see?
He's in the shade of that,
Yeah.
where that dead branch is lying down. Can you see it?
Oh, there he is. It looks like a big...
Don't you believe me?
It's Ryan. I mean, I've been around enough horse poos and cow poos, but...
Yeah, but horses don't need to mark their territories on rocks, though, do they?
If they do, they don't care where we're over.
No, that's right, they don't care. We take a lot of thought into where we place our poos here in Australia. Can anybody see any
We
more?
appreciate that as a tourist.
Very good.
You too could be like us.
Now, speaking of toilet habits, we do have very nice flush toilets out here for you. There's just one little thing. Several little things. We have some resident frogs out here that like to live around the toilet bowls themselves. Now, what that means for you is that if you wouldn't mind, when you go to use the amenities, if you could please flush the toilet first before you lift the lid, before you sit down.
There's one in the shadows.
Oh,
3
one in the
o'clock.
shadows? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
He's laying down under the tree.
Lying down
missed
into the
it.
trees. About 3:30.
About 3:30.
Yep.
Can everybody see him there?
Nope.
No? He's well camouflaged. That one I can't even see him. Right,
He's
we'll
at
keep...
the base of that tree. Or she.
The closest tree?
No, the further out.
It's a bit hard to see that one.
Yeah, we'll keep looking for a better one. So, for these frogs, for their health and for your safety, if you could flush the toilets before you use them and after, that would be healthy too. And that just gives the frogs a little bit of warning of what's to come, and they can make that decision whether they need to stay or not. Generally they'll go. They're not harmful in any way, they won't bite you, they won't eat you. They just need a bit of warning to get out of the way. So, giant spiders? No, the frogs eat them. Now, we probably won't see many Euros through here now, it's a little bit too woody. We're coming into the woodland area. So there's a couple of different areas around the desert. We've got the sandy desert, obviously, there's sandy down at the rock. The woodland area, which you can see here, nice little trees. And then of course the river country. So even though there's no water in the river, we still have a river country, because underneath, as I mentioned, all that water, there's still a lot of trees where their root systems grow really long and they reach down into that water table. Alright, so we've discussed the frogs. If anybody has any dietary requirements tonight, please make yourself known to
Too late.
Too
No,
late?
they don't. No.
They don't? Okay, no worries. We won't talk about that. Denny will be your host tonight. Hopefully he'll meet us at the coach. Otherwise, I can steer you straight to the bar when we get there. There is red wine, white wine, light beer, heavy beer, soft drink, water, tea and coffee. So just let the barman know exactly what you need.
Tea and coffee later though, isn't it?
Well, it is available, but tea and coffee, Billy tea later. Billy tea later, yes. We don't want tea and coffee now, though, do we?
No.
The bar's open. Goodness sake. So we'll serve you a piece of steak and some salad. And Danny will do a bit of a show about how to make damper and a bit of a cattle talk as well. Talk to you a little bit about some of the stations around here, a bit of the history of the cattle stations. So it's going to be a good night.
No, you did.
There's entertainment, so you kick your heels up and do a bit of a jink. That's dance. And enjoy the night. I'll be around. Of course, you have Jenny here with you, so if you need anything. If you can't find Jenny, I'll be there. Danny is your host. I'll point him out to you when we get there. So any questions, any queries that you have, one of us will be able to answer them for you.
The big ant hills, we're not used to seeing those.
Big ant hills? No. Termite mounds, we call them.
All right, whatever
So
that.
termites are the ones that eat all the wood. So notice a lot of the posts and the fencing around here are all steel posts because the white ants eat all the wooden ones. Now we might see a few Euros down around here.
I see one.
You see one?
Up to the left.
Off to the left?
Up, like at 11 o'clock in the shade. Is that one? Or is it a log? No, up ahead. Maybe it's a log. Drive further.
Drive further? Alright. Let's
Haven't
see.
confirmed that sighting yet.
That's not one. Okay. Sorry.
That's alright. Just don't do that in crocodile area, will you?
It looked like years to me.
Oh, there's one down here. Right there, almost in front of the coach down in that grassy area. Just straight ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes, I see him now.
Right
Yep.
by that road.
Just trying not to scrape the bottom of the coach there.
Looks like a boy, that
Yeah.
one maybe, is it?
No, I think that's still a female as well. I'll get down a little bit closer. He is in the shadows. They haven't been very cooperative with their photogenic side tonight, have they?
I haven't seen it
Staying in
yet.
the shadows.
It's just over here, front right. He's about 2 o'clock now.
Oh,
Looking back at it.
There you go.
there he is. He is just jumping down.
See him.
See him now?
He's off.
I got too close.
Stopped again.
I got too close.
I don't have to.
Okay.
I don't, but no, I don't need to.
You'll be all kangarooed out by tonight, won't you?
I got up close to one today.
Where are you off to tomorrow? Down to the Rock tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah.
School of the Air, then down to the Rock.
Excellent. School of the Air's a good place to go to.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Euros. E-U-R-O, just like the currency, but they're all kangaroos. They're all member of the kangaroo family, but they just classified, you know.
The largest of the wallaby.
Largest of the wallabies,
So
that's
the wallaby
right.
is still a kangaroo. They're all members of the macropod family.
Right, they all look.
Yeah,
Some are prettier than others.
yeah.
But what we call the kangaroo is bigger than these wallabies.
Kangaroos are generally bigger than wallabies, yeah.
Kangaroos are just
Oh, yeah. But these,
There are lots of different types of kangaroos.
Alright, so you can see the colours coming through in that quarry now. That's the old quarry. We used to get rocks and sand out of the quarry there. The airport that you arrived at today, underneath those 2 runways, all of that sand and road base came from this quarry here. The beautiful colours. And as the sun goes down a little bit more, you'll see those colours change again, like the rock tomorrow.
Look at that profile.
Oh, there he is. That's a better one.
Man, that's a nice shot.
There he is.
Profile.
Can you get him? You want me to move? or-
Excellent.
No,
well
I
done.
got it, thank you.
Okay.
Keep stay there for a minute.
There you go.
He's gone, is he?
Yep. Got an action shot there.
Keep your eyes out tonight. You might see a couple more before the sun sets. Keep your ears out for dingoes. You don't always see the dingoes, but you might hear them howl.
that one you got?
I thought they were quiet.
And the more you drink, the more you'll hear. Okay, so the bar is open, as I said, red wine, white wine, light beer, heavy beer, soft drink and water. as we hop off the coach here, the bar will be directly in front of you. So off to our left at the moment, but as you disembark the coach, it'll be directly in front of you. Okay, here we are coming into view now. So there's the bar. There's Don ready to serve you. Now right in front of us, slightly off to the right, is the toilets, just there. Can everyone see that tin shed? Yes. Yep, alright, so there's your bathroom facilities there. There's Don, have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
That's a unique way to stack firewood.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've ever stacked it that way. Hi, Don.
You start without it?
I think he had.
You have a Foster's beer? Maybe pick a chair.
Some boomerangs. There we go.
No flies. Alright.
All right, did everyone get a drink?
Yes, sir.
Because that's the main thing. You could perish out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just while you're sitting down, I'm going to do a bit of a talk to you on a few things. But did you see any kangaroos on the way?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, later tonight, keep your eye open around that rock face up there. You might see a few up there. We put a few buckets of water up there and we stuck a bit of whiskey in there to slow them down for you. So just keep your eye open. Later on tonight, we'll put some lights up there and you might see them hopping around. So where'd you come from today? Melbourne. Where are you from though? You're not from Melbourne?
No, Kentucky.
Kentucky? Michigan?
California.
Colorado.
Colorado? Well, you'd be liking our good weather then.
Yeah.
It's the best time of year to come out here. Now, just while you're sitting down having a drink, first of all, I'll give you a bit of a rundown on some of these boomerangs. Because this particular boomerang that you see here, not actually used for hunting as such, more of a comeback or a toy boomerang. And some of the Aboriginal kids, especially in the top end of Australia in the early days, they'd use a boomerang similar to this here, just to attract the ducks in out of the lake. And all they'd do with one of these is that they'd just throw it out, and it would make a spinning noise or whistling noise.
We can't hear you.
Come forward, mate, up the front here. Plenty of seats over here.
Right here.
And it would head around the outside of the lake.
If you're hard of hearing, just come and
Yeah,
sit
come
down
up
in
the front. There's plenty of room over here.
It's when other people talk it's hard to hear too, so. But Jeremy, come and sit down the front.
But this was mainly used to disable the birds, but not actually used for hunting big game. It wasn't used for that. I'll pass them around actually if you like. You can have a bit of a look at these. Have a look at that, mate. You know,
Yeah.
take one of those if you like.
Yep. Thank you, mate.
Now,
Don't throw it.
that there,
Now he come back and get me.
yeah, that's more of a traditional hunting boomerang used by the early Aranda people, and it was actually used for hunting kangaroos and emus. It was held like this. It was used to throw straight out or even just sideways and spin along the top of the body. So it never came back though, because basically it just wouldn't. It's actually made of a very heavy hard wood called mulga. You can have a look at that as well if you like. You can pass that around and we'll...
What was the wood?
Mulga.
Mulga?
A lot of the wood along the side of the range here is mulga.
Okay.
Does anyone know what this is?
Piece of wood.
That's a good answer.
A mogul, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it is. But actually, it's where that comes from.
Oh, okay.
So, it's actually the trunk out of a mulga tree, and that's the actual root system of the tree. And this was actually a very powerful weapon used by the early Aranda people, the Aboriginal people, many years ago. And it was actually used for fighting between themselves. So it was held like this, and it was used to come down and break you down the side of the shoulder blades, or break your legs and arms, and then just pull your head in and finish you off. But it was also used as a hook boomerang. to actually pull the fighting shield away from the other person's body. And that's the other reason for that, but it was something that was used many years ago. And you can imagine the workmanship that went in to make that, because obviously it started off as a tree, and they've just pulled it down, and they've just chipped away at it with a stone axe and a stone mill. And they've eventually got it down like this, and this one's taken a couple of days to do that. It was made by hand. It's very old. But it's also, yeah, the mulberry wood. So some of that in there is mulberry wood and ironwood. Have a feel of that later. That's got a bit of weight in it too.
So that's what you barbecue with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a feel of that, because that's
Heavy.
yeah. Look at that, mate.
Heavy.
Heavy.
But actually,
He wasn't kidding.
what I might do, if you like, while we've got some good colours up here, is I'll throw some of these comeback boomerangs around. So these boomerangs, they've actually got a bevel on them. And that bevel that's on the boomerang, that actually determines if it's left or right. So they are different. If it was a left-handed, that bevel would be on this side of the boomerang. But I'll give you a bit of distance, and make sure you just keep your eye open. Lana's going to keep an eye on them too. So give us a couple of seconds, and I'll give you a bit of distance.
You're in trouble.
Whoa. Oh, that is so cool.
Boom.
Oh, that really works.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Goodness. Getting close here.
Next one's coming at you.
Get it, Russ.
Getting closer.
He's trying.
All right.
Now he's going to get it.
Get that bird up there.
Now, actually, just keep your eye open, and we'll just see if we can get a couple of these going together. There we go.
Oh, is that cool?
Already got his bracketed, guys.
Anything like that, I don't think. I can't even get them on my camera.
There you go.
Cool.
So, it really depends on the wind. If you get too much wind, these are too light and they don't work as good. But they mainly were used to attract the ducks in out of the lakes, and that's the reason they made that spinning noise. You mightn't have heard it from here. The
Barely.
ducks would come towards them, and then they could throw rocks at them. But the hunting boomerangs are these big boomerangs.
They could throw those accurately, huh?
These, yeah, they could, yeah. A lot of practice. But you'd probably had a feel of that. It's got a lot of weight on it. But what I might do,
We want some of these?
watch out for Jenny if she has a drink. Make sure she doesn't have that in her.
You don't know how often I would have liked to have used these.
Be sure and take that away from her before we leave here.
And what I might do is I might make you some bread as well, some damper. Has anyone heard of damper?
Jenny mentioned it.
No? Well, we might make some bread, and later on tonight we'll trial it if you like. While
Okay.
I'm doing that, I'm going to give you a bit of a rundown on the cattle industry out here as well. An average sized cattle property out here today in this area is 1,200 square miles.
Goodness.
And the largest cattle property that we have in Australia, that cattle station is down to the south. It's on a place called Anna Creek, and that one cattle property used to be just on 15,000 square miles. Today it's still the largest cattle property that we have in Australia. And most of the cattle properties close to Alice, they're either breeding Pole Hereford or Shorthorn type cattle out here. And cattle can do very well out here after good season. We can get big droughts out here. We usually only average around 8 to 12 inches of rainfall a year in this area. So where are you staying while you're here in Alice?
Alice Springs.
The casino?
Yeah.
By the casino.
That's the casino. That's not a good place to stay, is it? You'll have no money left.
Yeah.
Well, Well, if you stand there, you should have seen the Todd River. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, flowing well.
Overflowing with sand.
Yeah.
You probably saw it at low tide.
Yeah.
It's low tide every day. But just to give you an idea of big rains out here, the end of 1974 through 75, that river flowed for 314 days.
Mm.
That was due to Cyclone Tracy. Destroyed the city of Darwin. We got a lot of rainfall on that. So these cattle properties rely heavily on man-made water points, bores and dams. And that's the main thing to do out in the middle of summer. Keep water up to cattle and check fence lines. Cooler months of the year, it's when we get cattle together. And it's what we call mustering, but some of you might call that roundup. And it's just where we bring them into a set of yards, holding yards, let them settle down for a day or two, and after that, brand them, earmark them, cut the young bull calves, cut out a few to sell, and wean some of the young from their mothers. And then bring in our large trucks, our road trucks. And you find a lot of cattle from here go south, otherwise over to Queensland, and that really depends on pricing. But it's hard for people that come out here, especially new people coming from overseas, to come to terms with the size of some of these cattle properties. There's a good example of that. There's a property up to the north called VRD. In the early days, that one cattle station was just on 12,000 square miles. Today, it's been split up and it's company run. But back in those early days, they had 90,000 head of cattle on them that they knew they owned. Previously, all their mustering was just done by horseback. And the first time they introduced a helicopter to help muster that area, they found an extra 22,000 head of cattle they didn't even know they had on the property. Around $600 a head.
Cool.
So it sort of gives you a good understanding of the size of these properties. One of the reasons they are so large is our rainfall. We average around, 8, 12 inches of rainfall a year. Big droughts, you're lucky to get 2 to 3 head of cattle a square mile for grazing. Good rains, you can get around 8 to 12 head of cattle a square mile. But it really depends on that. So hopefully you bring some rain with you. We haven't seen it for a while now. But I'll give you a bit more of a rundown on that. And while I'm doing that, I'll make you some bread, some damper. Now, we're going to need about 13 1/4 mouthfuls of water in here. Make sure we measure that. That look all right?
Yeah. Pretty close.
Dip a bit out of there. Yeah, we're going to put a little bit of hot water in here because that sometimes helps it to rise. Put that in there.
Temperature check.
And we're going to need to use a little bit of salt. You find today most people out here are salt conscious. They don't like much salt, so we'll put a level teaspoon in here and no more. And we're going to need to use a little bit of plain flour. Now, how do you measure at home?
With a measuring cup.
Measuring cup.
A handful.
Probably no different. Yeah, we're going to need 6 metric handfuls of flour in here.
Yep.
How many is that?
5.
5. Well, we'll use the other one to wash our hands after. Now, we usually make a mess when we do this here. But just while we're stirring this, I'll give you a bit more of a rundown on some of these cattle properties. Because if you had gone out further than what you come this evening, following these mountains out to the east of it, you'd eventually got out to a place called Ross River. And in the early days, Ross River was part of a cattle station. Before that, it was part of a horse property called Love's Creek. And in the early days, a lot of these cattle properties out here, they were running horses out here for the Australian remounts during the war. and he also breeding them for the Indian Army. And when the war subsided, there wasn't as much money, they turned back to cattle. But they bred a special horse, what they called whalers. And they were very strong type stock horses. Yeah, the whaler consists of a Timor pony, a Clydesdale Arab and a thoroughbred horse. But if you head out to the west of Alice along this range, in the other direction, most of the land west of the township, it used to be part of the oldest cattle property out here in the Northern Territory. It was a place called Owen Springs. And it was the first lease given at the end of 1872 on a 99-year lease for a cattle station. And Owen Springs used to be owned by a man called Sir Sidney Kidman. And Kidman, he was known as the Cattle King. But he wasn't from here. He left home at the age of 13 with a one-eyed horse he called Cyclops. And at the age of 13, he actually ran away from home. And he decided to go into the mining areas. And he found the miners needed to get their goods a lot quicker than what they were getting them. So he started up a ferrying business, ferrying goods to the miners. And then he worked his way up through the centre of Australia on sheep properties. He eventually got up here and he went out to Owen Springs cattle station. And he bought that property in partnership with another gentleman in 1880. And then 2 years later, he bought it outright for £2,000. But Kidman, he had a vision to go and buy cattle properties in the top end of Australia, in the Kimberley country. And then he bought cattle properties through far north Queensland. A lot of these properties, they followed the river systems of the Diamantina and the Cooper. So as it got dry to the north of Australia, he could take his cattle and drove them or walked them by horseback from one property of his to the next, and then get them into the markets with still good condition on them. But he went through 2 major droughts. And then, during the war, he lost most of his workers. They went off to fight the war. And those that never returned, he gave money to their families. And those who returned injured, he pensioned them off. But he also supplied the Australian Air Force with aircraft. He bought them aircraft. And he supplied the troops with remounts. He bred horses for the remounts during the war. And in those early days, he ended up with 127,000 square miles of inland Australia and more than 100 cattle stations at any one time as well. Now we'll give this a bit more of a stir. Does it look like your bread? No?
I've never made bread.
You never made bread?
No.
Geez, you better stay out here a bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever heard of a Johnny cake or raisin bread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make that at home?
Yeah.
You do, yeah? Yeah, we make it out here. If you had to come out here and had another 3 or 4 weeks, when it warms up a bit, we could have made you one. And sometimes out here, if you're lucky, in the summer, you can find a fly or two. You put them in here, they've got about just amount of juice of good sultan, and you can't tell the difference. We haven't seen a fly this year. Now, we're going to put this bread into the camper, if it fits. Give it one more stir. Put that in there. Clean up the kitchen. Now, how many handfuls of flour do we use?
Don't have any idea.
You're not sure? We'll chuck another one in just in case. Put that in there. Now, What temperature you reckon you cook your bread at home in? Is that Celsius?
No, Fahrenheit. We're sorry to say we're still dealing with Fahrenheit.
So you reckon 350 degrees? Anyone else? Yeah, we're going to be a bit hotter than that.
170 C.
370. 400.
170 C.
Yeah, we're going to be a bit more exact than that. What we're going to do is we're going to put it in this fire pit here. We're going to get the temperature right. We're going to need exactly a half a shovelful of coals on the top of that. Now, put that down there. We might need 2 of them tonight. Stick that on the top. And then we're going to check the temperature. You reckon 350 to 400? Well, yeah, that's 362 degrees. That could be Celsius, Fahrenheit, won't make a bit of difference.
This goes Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that'll be ready in 20 minutes. And after we'll pull it out, we'll put a bit of Cocky's Joy and a little bit of butter on there and you can try it.
Okay.
Have you tried Cocky's Joy?
Mm-mm.
Cocky's Joy, have you heard of that?
No.
You haven't heard of that? Yeah, Cocky's Joy, it's like molasses you give horses.
Horses?
Yeah, you'll probably run real good tomorrow, dear. If you don't like that, we've got Vegemite. Have you tried Vegemite?
Not yet.
You tried that? Yeah, Vegemite, that's good if you get the flu. You'll never get it again. Yeah, but that'll be ready in about 20 minutes. After we'll pull it out, and we're going to have that later for dessert.
That's good. 190 degrees C.
That's 362 degrees.
No, that's Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit C.
Yeah, come and put your hand in and have a It'll be all right. But shortly, Don's going to come out and do a talk on the Aboriginal culture for you. Now, just before I go, though, how do most of you like your steak? Does anyone like a well-done steak? Just put your hand up. 2, 3, 4, 6. It's like an auction, isn't it? What about a rare steak? Anyone like a rare steak? Rare. How many like a rare steak? Put your hand up. 1. Rest must be medium rare, are you?
Yeah, medium rare.
Well, after I'll be over in there cooking your steak, and when you come up to me, you just tell me how you like it so I give you the right one. But yeah, shortly, if you like, Don will come up and do a talk on the Aboriginal culture for you. So if you like another drink before he does that, just head up the bar and grab one and then come and sit back down here and sit up the front if you like, just so you can hear him better. Thank you.
Thank you.
That'll be all right.
Yeah, we missed the sunset. We're not missing them little flies, though.
No, not at all.
No. They're after Jonathan too, huh? Stark, rugged terrain. Just, I think it's pretty myself. Good evening. Try it again.
That was a motley response.
Yeah.
We'll try again. Good evening, people.
Good evening.
That's a little better. Now, my voice is not quite up to scratch, so bear with me. I might have tried to share their microbes with me or something. But nevertheless, my name is Don, and over the next few minutes, whilst Danny is getting your dinner ready, we will talk about the Aboriginal people. Now, perhaps you have already seen some Aborigines around Alice Springs. However, like most people, you probably know very little about them. But in earlier times, the Aborigines here in Central Australia had the most fascinating societies. But in modern times, with the influx of new ideas, and particularly technology, the old ways are fading away. At the time of colonisation of Australia, a little over 200 years ago, we estimate that total Aboriginal population, Australia-wide at that time, was somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000 people. Now that probably doesn't sound like very many, but remember, the Aborigines were nomadic hunter-gatherers. They practiced no agriculture, kept no domestic animals except the dog. They were dependent on what they could hunt or gather on a day-to-day basis. And when you consider that they lived in the driest inhabited landmass in the world, little wonder their population was quite small. Here in Central Australia, in those early times, population was sparse indeed. The average tribal size in this region was only around about 400 to 500 people. And those 400 or 500 were spread out over many thousands of square kilometres of territory. Because the Aborigines did not have agriculture, they couldn't live in one place on a permanent basis. So the tribe was split up into small foraging groups, 6 to 8 people on the average, constantly on the move. The only time they met in larger groups was for the purpose of ritual, ceremony, arranging marriages, etc. Now, to many people, that would describe a kind of free and easy lifestyle. And perhaps in some ways it may have been, but in reality, any human society that lives under those conditions faces very serious social problems. One of the biggest of these problems is that of inbreeding. Now, in modern times, this is something that we pay scant attention. When we get married, our last concern, if it would be a concern at all, is that the person we are marrying may possibly be some kind of relative. Because there are so many of us, this has ceased to have been a problem some time ago. But with the Aboriginal people here in early times, with their very small population and their own ancestors not all that long ago, it was a real and ongoing problem. And so their societies evolved to deal with it. Another very serious problem that the Aborigines faced here in early times, our own ancestors also faced this, was the mere fact of keeping up the numbers. With such small numbers to begin with, naturally high infant mortality because of the harsh conditions, these people had to find a way to maximize their chances of passing genetic material onward. Now, the Aborigines here in Central Australia got around this to some extent by practicing a kind of multi-marriage, and I will enlarge upon this a little later on. But like with many things, to get to know how something works, a diagram always helps. So in a moment I'll draw a circle on that whiteboard, and we will say that this circle represents the tribe that we are going to talk about. Then, bearing in mind the special social problems that these people faced, we will be able to see how they organised their societies to meet the challenge of living here in Central Australia. And remember, they did this without the benefit of technology. Now, the reason I say this is that technology plays such an enormous part in our everyday lives. We tend to take most of it for granted. Flick a switch, light comes on. Turn a tap, water flows. Need groceries, down to the supermarket. Now, we don't stop to ponder of all of the technology that is required to make those seemingly simple things possible in the first place. We just get on with it. But there is one thing that brings it home to us, and that is a power outage. Oh, think about it. We are absolutely helpless. In fact, most of us can't even make ourselves a hot drink. Yet these people lived here in this desert without all of that, and mostly they lived well. But of course, to do that, you need a society that is very closely focused on survival. So over the next few minutes, we'll have a look at how those tribal societies were organized. But firstly, we'll get our tribe up on the board. There's more stumps here if anyone wants to come and sit closer if you're having problems hearing back there. There, oh dear. Now, when compared with human societies in other parts of the world, these tribal societies here in Central Australia were in many ways quite unique. The Aborigines here had no chiefs, no kings, or anybody set upon a pedestal above anybody else. We could rightly argue that their societies were more than likely the only real communisms that have ever existed, where all people within those societies were indeed equal. A tribe was largely two things. One of these, it was a kind of cooperative, where through a system of sharing and support, each member of the society got the best chance of survival in an extremely harsh environment. Secondly, our tribe was a language-speaking group. We estimate that at the time of colonization, some 300 or more languages were then spoken Australia-wide. At the present day, around about 80 of those languages are still in use, some of them spoken only by a handful of individuals. Now, when we say 80 languages, we mean 80 different, distinct languages. If we were to count dialects, creoles, pidgins, you could multiply that by more than a factor of 10. There is no Australia-wide Aboriginal language. This appears to be a popular belief for some reason. However, no such animal exists. Aborigines did not develop any written forms of language. There were no alphabets, but those languages that survive today have been transposed to the phonetic alphabet in relatively recent times. But let's get back to our tribe. Now, this tribe that we are going to talk about is a real one. These people live off to the northeast of here. That's in that direction there. I talk about them because they are a small tribe and they have a relatively simple social system when compared with the larger tribal groupings in this region. Now, if you were to speak to a group of tribal or traditional Aboriginal people here in Central Australia, and you were to ask them how they are related to each other, I would guarantee that within the space of a moment or four, you would be completely and utterly confused. Because you might say to one of your Aboriginal friends, well, look, I know you are all related, but for example, who is the lady sitting next to you? And the answer may come back, that's my mother. Or fine, you say, that's your mum. But who's the lady on the other side? That's also my mother. Now hang on a bit, you say, how could that be possible? Because you said this other lady was your mother. But remember, these people would be telling you this from their point of view. And as far as they are concerned, they are telling you the absolute truth. They practice a kind of extended family. In these tribal families, mothers, sisters are not aunts like they would be in our society. Mothers, sisters are also mothers. Fathers, brothers are fathers. Grandfathers, brothers are grandfathers. Grandmothers, sisters are grandmothers. Wives, sisters are wives. Husbands, brothers are husbands, and so on. But those people of the opposite sex, fathers, sisters, mothers, brothers, grandfathers, sisters, etc., are aunts and uncles. Now I can see by all of the blank looks that you understand that perfectly. But just remember, the rule is same sex, same category. Fathers, brothers are fathers, etc. But think about this. If your grandfather's brothers are also your grandfathers, it would follow then that grandfather's brothers' children would then be your mums and dads, and their children would be your brothers and sisters. So with this in mind, you can see how the unit family would grow and grow and grow. Not mentioning all of the cousins, etc., from fathers, sisters, mothers, brothers, grandfathers, sisters, etc. In fact, a tribe is really a combination of several extended families. This tribe is made up of 4. This is why I have subdivided the circle into 4 bits. These are the 4 extended families that make up this entire tribe. We refer to these extended families as sections or clans. Each one of them has a name, and the people that belong in each will use this name, much like we would use a family name. Now the names, as you can probably imagine, are a little hard to pronounce, so rather than use those, we will give ours a number. And so that you can relate to this a little better, let's say that I am a man in this tribe. I belong in clan number 1. And also, let's say, it has come time for me to get married. So what would happen under the social rules? Now in older times, and still today to some extent, but this is beginning to die out now, these tribal marriages were sort of arranged. What I mean by this is there is a certain group of women that I can marry. Because I am a man in clan number 1, I must marry a girl in clan number 2. No exceptions. Now there is a reason for this. If you can look at this not so much as a circle, try to imagine it as a helix. You'll see that what it is doing is dividing the generations. So by me marrying someone in clan 2, it's about as far away as I could possibly get with the given gene pool. It is quite interesting the way it works out. Now this doesn't mean that all of these aborigines that you see walking around here are all geneticists. All human societies have safeguards against inbreeding, because we have discovered over thousands of generations that inbreeding is a very bad idea. So we have mechanisms in our societies to prevent it from happening. Even animal communities avoid inbreeding. So here I am then, a man in clan number 1. I will marry a girl in clan number 2. Now often in this tribe, it will be my mothers who will be instrumental in selecting my bride for me from clan number 2. When I say mothers, remember I mean my biological mother and all of her sisters. And often they will select this girl while she is still a babe in arms. But before we could live together as man and wife, we would, both of us, have to complete something called initiation. Now this was largely education. Remember, these people had no written forms of language. Survival knowledge, heritage, was passed on through the medium of ritual, dance, song, example. The young, of course, would have to learn all of this so that they may pass it on in their turn. This began for men at around about puberty, but they didn't finish until they were maybe about 16 years old. They couldn't marry before that time. But women would begin initiation much earlier and would usually finish by the age of around about 12. So this means when I get married, I'll be a young blade around about 16 years old. My number one wife, probably about 12 years old. Shock horror, I hear you say. But of course our ancestors did exactly the same thing. Why, you ask? Technology. Because of technology, women in our society, A, have much better nutrition. B, they have better health care. And because of this, they have a much broader fertility window. Women in our society are still having babies in their 40s and 50s. This is an impossibility in a Stone Age society. In a Stone Age society, if you got to be 40 or 50, you would be very, very old indeed. On the average, women in a Stone Age society would be leaving their fertile years behind them in their mid to late 20s. So they had a very narrow fertility window. This is why they got married very young. And this, of course, continued globally right up until late medieval times. So here I am then, a man in one. We finished our initiation. We go to live with each other, with my bride from Clan 2. We are then married. But remember, these marriages are not strictly singular marriages, as we would understand them. They are really a kind of collective marriage. And this too came about through this system. Remember the rule, same sex, same category, fathers, brothers or fathers, etc. So when I marry my bride in clan number 2, naturally my bride will have sisters. So when I marry my wife, I will marry all of her sisters as well. Now before we get carried away, and all of the gentlemen want to become Aborigines, this went both ways. And when my wife marries me, she marries all of my brothers as well. However, this did not mean that we all went to live together. In fact, you would remain with your paramount partner for most of your life. But as you get older, sometimes you may accrue an extra partner or 4. So we might ask then, what did this multi-marriage achieve? Several things. For example, in older times in this region, there were no widows or widowers within these tribal groups. Because if your paramount partner takes a step up into the great beyond, remember you are also married to all of their brothers or sisters, as the case may be. Now think about this. This meant then that nobody was ever left without support or companionship. Not such a bad idea when you look at it in that way. Also, there were no orphans in these tribal societies. Because if you're a child and something happens to your parents, you still have all of those fathers, brothers and mothers, sisters who are also your mums and dads and are responsible for your welfare. In fact, in everyday life, fathers, brothers and mothers, sisters took a very active role in bringing up the children. Remember when we were kids, sometimes we found it relatively easy to fool mum or dad. But imagine, if you had about 50 dads and about 50 mums watching your every move, it would be a very different proposition. And of course this multi-marriage also, to some extent, got around the problem of infertility. Now this is a desert here. We may have droughts in this region that can last for 10 years or more. virtually no rain at all. In these modern times, it is an inconvenience. But we've still got the supermarket, we've got mail order. Aborigines had none of this in early times. They had to live off the land. So you can imagine how difficult it must have been for the hunter-gatherers in this region during one of those droughts. Food would have been very scarce, infant mortality even higher. And during hard times like those, with poor nutrition and everything else that goes along with them, it is just a fact of nature. Women often don't ovulate, so when times get tough, the factory closes down. So right when they didn't need it, infertility would have been a problem. Now under those circumstances, it would have been a nonsense if you had two people who were married. One was fertile, one was not. If there existed within the society some kind of moral stricture that said, well, too bad, as we don't have an IVF clinic, you will just have to miss out. No children for you. They couldn't afford that. Here then the multi-marriage, where that situation arose, all important children could still be produced, husbands, brothers, wives, sisters, because in the eyes of the community, these people were married in any case. And I would put it to you, our own ancestors would have had similar structures in their societies long ago. At the height of the last ice age, around about 30,000 years ago, most of our ancestors would have been living on the absolute razor edge of survival. If they had not have had things like this in their societies, we probably wouldn't be here today. Now, of course, it is an impossibility to discuss every aspect of a culture multi-thousands of years old, all in the matter of a few minutes. So for the sake of brevity, most must be left out. But we should make a mention of how these people look at life. Now, we have already seen that the majority of the Aboriginal people that you will see here in Central Australia are indeed products of a very different social background. But what of their philosophy? Is that also different? And of course it is. And this is one of the biggest stumbling blocks that people discover when they come to Central Australia and begin dealing with tribal Aboriginal people for the first time. Just drying out a bit. Our visitors here during the hot summer months, and this includes Australian people from other parts of the country, will often remark, look, they say, every time I see these Aborigines, I see them sitting about in these little groups, particularly under the trees in the river that bisects that town. Now, some of them seem to sit there all day. What are they doing there? Don't they work? Now, these are perfectly reasonable questions because we ask them from our point of view. But the Aborigines, of course, with their very different social background, do not have our point of view. Remember, they are products of a hunter-gatherer society where, if you have enough for today, you will worry about tomorrow when it comes. Now, there is nothing wrong with that fundamentally, except it runs completely counter to our way of doing things. We spend a lot of our time planning, worrying about the future, and there is nothing wrong with that either. It is just our way. Tribal Aborigines, the ones you'll see around here, are not remotely interested in the future. They only care about right now. And also, Aboriginal people in this region believe that when they are born, they say they are born with a certain measure of energy, like a full battery or a full tank of fuel. And they say there is a direct relationship with the way that you use this energy throughout your adult years as to how long, barring accidents, you will be about on this mortal coil. So if you run about, do all sorts of silly things, and waste your precious energy, you won't be around long, because you would run out of fuel, so to speak. But on the other hand, if you only use your energy when you need to, you will be around much longer. So then, not hungry, not thirsty, hot day, shady tree, you go and sit in the shade. You conserve your precious energy. But of course then we come along and see them sitting about and we say, what are they doing there? Why aren't they up doing something? Being industrious. These Aborigines, they're indolent, they're lazy. But now put the shoe on the other foot. They watch us running about in the sun. And they say, these white fellas, they're mad, they're crazy. Why don't they get out of the sun like we do? In fact, these tribal people, whose social system we have been using as a model, these people actually have a collective name for us that reflects this. They call us Yarilgiri. Now this is simply a term that means ants. And when you think about it, it's quite an honest observation, as they watch us scurrying about and carrying things to and fro. But in their eyes, all of this frenetic activity never seems to be associated with what we need for ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Now, just before dinner, perhaps the best way that I could sum up this fundamental difference in philosophical attitude is with a little story. Now let's imagine it is a hot summer's day, and out in the sun there is a gentleman building a fence, digging fence holes, straining on wires, perspiration streaming down his brow. Yonder, a shady tree, and beneath that, watching this fellow build the fence, an Aboriginal man. Our fence builder looks up from his toil, sees the Aboriginal man under the tree, and says to himself, have a look at this character sitting there watching me work. Doesn't he have any ambition? Does he want to better himself? I'll give him a chance. Hey, you over there. Aboriginal man looks out from under the tree. Yeah, boss. Why don't you come over? Give me a hand. Now the Aboriginal man is comfortable in the shade. He has no ambition of going out on the hot sun without a very good reason. Why, boss? Well, if you come and help me, I'll give you some money. Now the Aboriginal man ponders this. However, he's not hungry, not thirsty, needs nothing. What for, boss? Well, of course, by this time, our fence builder is a little fed up with all of this. What's wrong with him? Can't he see that I'm trying to improve his lifestyle? I'll have to go over there, talk a bit of sense into him. So he downs tools over to the tree. If you were to come and help me, and you were good at it, I would give you a regular job. And then you would get a regular pay. Think what you could do with that. You could take it into the town, buy the things you need. But best of all, you could go into that bank and you could open a bank account. Imagine you with a bank account. Each week you could take your money there. That account would grow and grow and grow. And if you work hard and long enough, you would have all of that money put away in that bank. And then you could sit back and take it easy. Because the Aboriginal man scratches his head and says, but that's what I'm doing right now, boss. But of course, it revolves around those things we have been talking about. But as was said at the beginning of this, times are changing. Really, this is inevitable, because above all else, the Aborigines are people, and change is what people do. If we do not adapt ourselves to conditions as they change around us, we will go the way of the dinosaur. So Aborigines are adapting. In fact, in modern times, a good 2/3 of total Aboriginal numbers throughout Australia today are urban. These are the people that you will see in the larger population centres. They've been living there for several generations. So they are products of the urban society. They think like we do, have the same principles, the same goals. The last 1/3 of total numbers are those you will see in this region. Now these people are still living within the framework of their ancient tribal societies. And as we have seen over the last few minutes, they are very different people indeed. So I will leave it there and would thank you for your attention. Our dinner will be ready in about 5 or 10 minutes. Now when it is, I'll give you a shout over there. Something like the steaks are ready. And when they do, go around the other side of the bar. Someone will be handing out plates there. You go up to the Barbie, harpoon a steak. Then you'll see a salad bar over there as well. And you'll be dining at those tables with the lamps on them there. That'll be...
Yeah, I had to wait till I put them next to the fire. There we go.
There's the bar. And here's their dining room, a pole barn. Only their pole barn's out of metal. I mean, it is nice. I want one of these now.
Medium rare? Big or small? Right, that one there. The inside of that, they're pretty thick, so medium rare. Get into that, mate. Thanks, sir.
I'll take one well done.
Well done, yeah?
Yeah.
Rightio, we've got a couple here. That one there will be the wellest
All right.
one. Get into that, mate.
All right, thank you.
You got that?
Yeah, I got that.
You must need to have more than one grill going.
Yes, we did.
Really?
Maybe it's because of the firing, maybe.
Yeah.
How do you like what I'll do is I'll cut up here, then we'll put the tray up over there where the cream is, and when you get a piece, head back outside there, because Scotty's going to sing out there for you around the fire. Good. Give us about 5 minutes. You steak all right? Yeah. Easy go, eh?
I think there are other young people coming up. It was like you had Kelson and then they did it.
Squirt and butter on it. That'll make it good.
Well, I'm going to bring another piece over for you. That was an amazing amount of bread to come out of that one.
I know.
Yeah, that's just a little bit of it there.
I know, I saw the whole big thing.
Yeah.
It was like about 60 pounds.
Most of it's still there. So what is that, butter?
Cream.
Oh, who did my
Oh, it's the bread. Remember the bread?
Yes, remember the bread.
With his hands.
I need a small one.
It's got honey on it. Doesn't it have honey?
Honey, yes. Honey and butter.
Oh, that's butter? That's way too much butter.
Oh.
Sorry.
I have to.
We have
Liquid sin.
some sweet.
She's already. I thought it was cream.
And what is it?
Butter.
What is butter?
Butter? There's butter on that.
The crust is hard. Bread's not a bread that's been raised very much. No baking soda or yeast. And you got butter and honey on it. And it's good.
One and only, incomparable, Steve Alpha. He's going to sing you a song, tell you what they're all for. So shake the hamper off the console, get ready to join in. But without further ado, man himself, Scotty Love. Bring it on.
Everywhere.
How are y'all?
Great.
Good? Y'all on a good feet?
Yeah.
And now, of course, you're all in good voice, is that right?
Yeah.
Fine. What's wrong with you? So you say you're in good voice, I'm glad to hear that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a song I reckon you probably heard somewhere before and you probably know the chorus. So when the chorus comes around, just you sing out loud and clear, all right? Once a jolly swagman can by a billabong in the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his reward. Come on, sing Matilda with him. I want to sing Matilda.
Waltzing Matilda, here come the waltzing Matilda with me.
Sang as he watched and waited till the Billy Boy. Yo! Okay, there you're a little bit till they come around. Don't be shy. Down came a jumbo to drink at the billabong. Jumped the swagman, he grabbed him with glee. Sang as he stole the chuck wagon, tuck a bag. Yo! Come on, sing Matilda with me.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, here come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Sang as he stole the jump bucket, tuck a bag. Yo! Come on,
Waltzing Matilda with me.
down came the squatter, mounted on a thoroughbred. Came the trooper, 1, 2, 3. Now who's in the jumper? You got in your tucker bag. Yo, come on, sing Matilda with me.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, here come a waltzing Matilda with me.
And who's in the jumper? You got in your tucker bag. Yo,
Waltzing Matilda with me.
up jumped the swagman, he jumped the coolabah. He drowned himself by that coolabah tree. And his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. Come on, sing Matilda with his me. Come on, sing Matilda.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda with me.
Sang as he watched and waited till the Billy Boy. Yo!
Waltzing Matilda with me.
I want to sing Matilda.
Waltzing Matilda, come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Sang as he watched and waited till the Billy Boy. Yo! Come on, sing Matilda with me. You were getting quite good there. Another more. Just geez, the last a bit longer, didn't it? More for me? Yeah. All right. Well, here's another one that's got a few verses. The chorus is very, very simple. And the chorus goes singing Tooralai Uralai Aditi, singing Tooralai Uralai.
singing Tooralai Adity, we're bound for Botany Bay. So that's easy, isn't it? Dead easy. Right, so I'm going to sing the first couple of choruses with you, just so you get the hang of it, and then I'll leave it up to you. All right, so Tooralai Adity, singing Tooralai, singing Tooralai Adity, we're bound for Botany Bay. Okay, when it comes around, you're ready. Farewell to old England forever. Farewell to me from cold as well. Farewell to the well-known Old Bailey. I used to catch such a smell. Singing Tooralai, singing Tooralai, singing Tooralai, up about for Botany Bay. That was the chorus. There's the captain, here is our commander. There's the boatswain and all the ship's crew. There's the first and the second class passengers. There's a what we for convicts go through. Singing Tooralai, singing Tooralai, singing Tooralai, we're bound for Botany Bay. Okay, next one. On your own.
Take it.
Why are you laughing? Ain't leaving old England we cast bound. Ain't cause we misspelled what we know. There's all over the light-fingered gentry. Hops around without talk on our ties. Singing Tooralai, singing Tooralai, singing Tooralai, up bound
for Botany Bay. Or something like that.
Yeah. Out of 7 long years I have served here. For 7 long more up to stay. For meeting some cove in an alleyway. Stealing his ticker and play. Singing Tooralai,
Bound for Botany Bay.
bound for
Botany Bay.
Now had I the wings of a turtle dove, I'd fly on me pinions so high, that bang to the arms of me Pollylove. I'd say straight to my life. Singing I wanted your take for me. I know what you don't, what you got. Join us in Botany Bay. Singing Tooralai, oh yeah, bound for Botany Bay. Big hand for Jenny there.
Bail us out.
She's got to hold up the Aussie cause.
Now what we're going to do now, a little bit different. We're going to do a couple of sheep shearing songs. But what's going to make it easy is we're going to get a few up here as for sheep shearers. Right? Now in the old days, shearing sheep was a man's job. You wouldn't find a female anywhere near a shearing shed. But of course, as you probably know, 2015, Australia is the land of equal opportunity. So tonight, looking for a lady, a gentleman to give me a hand with this song. Who's going to be my shearer? Don't be shy. You're here all night, otherwise.
Gary!
He's on.
He's got you trained.
He told me the other day he's scared of me.
He popped right up, didn't he?
Very wise, Gary. Right, which lady's scared of you?
Where's Lindsay? Where's Lindsay? Lindsay! Lindsay, come over here.
Get over here.
Come over here.
See?
She loves. What they say. She loves.
Yay, Lindsay!
Oh, yeah.
You made it. You've got to be on stage.
Come on, I need help.
Too late. I'm on stage here? You're on stage.
Absolutely.
Okay. With my beer?
Jacob!
You're gonna need that after you shear.
Right, you need that in your hand.
Okay.
Hold it like that. You need to hold it like that.
Oh, all right.
You go stand beside Gary here.
Watch out, Gary.
Watch it. Put that in your other hand. Just stand over here with Gary. Over there, that's it. Now, we're going to need one more person for this song.
To be the sheep.
This instrument here is what we call a T-chest bass. That's a T-chest, in case you didn't know. And the main criteria of this instrument is this. Right? Because you need your foot up there to be able to get a note out of it. So who'd like to be a bass player?
Do we have anyone with musical talent? Actually, Jonathan. You know why? Because you're tall and you can put your foot
I have no talent of any sort.
Oh, you don't have to have much talent.
And no coordination.
First time for
As long as I
everybody.
can put it on my right
On your
knee, I'm
bucket
good.
list.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll send this one home to the grandchildren.
No, we're good. We're good. No, we're good. We're good. I've adjusted to your world. I've adjusted to your world.
Other foot.
Oh, that's even better.
Flexibility.
That's it.
All right.
Hold on with the melody, guys. You got it.
Right.
Now they're gonna shear me. That's the bad news.
Yeah. Right. What we're going to do is a little song called Click Go the Shears. And the chorus of this song goes, click go the shears, boys. Click, click, click. Guess what you two will do?
Maybe the click,
Right.
click, click.
Now what's going to be good, isn't it, is if they could do that together in time.
Oh, let's do it together, right?
All right.
One more
But,
beer.
but don't get too carried away with it. But you're going to help them, right? Keep in time. So when they're clicking the shears, what I'd like you people to do is either click, click, click your fingers, clap, clap, clap your hands, or just shout out, click, click, click. And the really smart ones
Really?
I have to shout.
can do all three. You gonna what?
Nothing.
And you're going to keep the beat the whole way through. all
Keep
right?
the beat. You have no idea how bad that's gonna be. Is that?
We have to wait till I start.
Well, I was getting a head start, so I catch up.
All right. So, click go the shears. For the first chorus, I'll give you the timing like that. And after that, you'll be on your own. Okay? Here we go. Out upon the moor, the old shearer's town. Out with the shears and the same on the hand. Together, Joe, glory if we get you on the there we go. Click on the shears, boys. Hey, Hawaii, oh, man, that's the movie. The ringer is around. Be more blow, close to the old bag with the family. Okay, because we're going to get a couple more up here to make up the rest of our band of shearers here. Now, no. There we go, they're all right. Okay, I got a couple of sets of music sticks, a clap stick here. Who's going to have a go at one of them? You. All right. Another set of these.
All right, wow.
Yay,
It's your turn to go down.
Last but not least,
Oh, there's more.
is this little fellow. Now this little chap's called a lagerfeld. Just all step step closer to each other.
Okay.
So that'll do, that's fine. This is just a nice bit of hard dirt here. Now this instrument is called a lagerphone. It's called a lagerphone for a very simple reason. All the rattly bits, it tops a lager or beer bottle. Good girl. Bring him over. Goes a little bit like this. All right, now, you're right-handed. You're left-handed, right? Well, that will go in that hand. The main thing with this is the beat, right? And then when you get the hang of the beat, you can put your other bit in. Now, that'll go in that hand, and that will go in that hand, right? All right.
All right, counting on you.
Okay, how we going there? Now, the top of that lagerfeld at one stage of his life, when it was quite new, used to read the Jesse Gap Bush Band. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Jesse Gap Bush Band.
All right.
Tonight they're going to do a little song called the Rybuck Shearer. Now the Rybuck Shearer was the one they all wanted to be, because he was like the Top Gun shearer. He was like the guy who showed the most sheep of the day, got the most money, but this song's probably more about just being better than all his mates. The song they probably sang over a few beers, when everyone was better than all the mates. All right, so I'm going to give you people an instrumental in the middle. All right? So I'll count you in to start, and you don't finish till you see my hand up in the air. All right? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Jesse Gap Bush Band. Okay. 2, 3, 4. They are from Valley Hill, 100 or more, I carry up the cause I'm the right back here. If I don't feel the time before I go, down in the river, I'll come all around the ball, because I can run away. If I'm the right back here, there's a blow from the ball, I've heard him say, I couldn't steer 100 feet a day. Oh, one fine day, mate, I'll show the way. If I'm the right back here, I don't hear the tally before I go. The tears are down in the river, I'll drown all their own before me. Just wait another block. If I'm the right back here, are you ready? Take it away. Woo! I'll do the pen, while around shearing tight, I'll be shearing pen. If I'm the right back here, I don't shear metallic before I go. Shears down in the river, I'll drown all their own before me. I can run along. If I'm the right back here. Get up, guys. Oh. weather is wonderful, hey? All right, now, you can have a rest now. Put your instruments down here, and go and sit down.
Thank you.
Go away.
You're going to be back up here in a minute.
Oh my God.
Well,
What a job.
Oh my God.
Once again, proving everyone.
all right, now,
But it ain't natural.
the first song we did tonight, Waltzing Matilda, at the beginning of the song, Swagman was waiting for something to happen, wasn't he? Can you remember what it was?
Something by the Billabong.
Well, he was sitting by the billabong waiting for something to happen. Yeah. Well, we've been doing exactly the same. We've been waiting for the billy to boil. By stroke of good luck, it looks like it's boiled on time.
All right.
So what's going to happen now is going to get a cup of billy tea. Now, what we'd like you to do, now billy tea, I don't know how many of you people are tea drinkers, but billy tea is always one of the nicest cups of tea you get. Why that is, I don't know. Just it's one of these things it is, okay? So, so what we'd like you to do now is come out here and see Don here, and he'll give you a cup of tea. If you want milk and sugar, he's got that as well. Right, now while you're doing that, I'm going to sing a little song called The Billy of Tea. Now hopefully, if all goes well, by the time you've all got your cup of tea back sitting down again, I'll finish the song. Maybe I'll not, maybe I'll be still going, or maybe I'll be finished before you. But that's the idea, right? So don't hang about. So I'll sing the song Billy Tea, you come up and you have a cup.
Let me bring you one.
Hang by there for a minute. That's coffee there, that's tea here.
I'm going to go and find the milk.
I won't be a sec.
There's tea here.
Is that the personal preference or is it
Coffee there.
required?
I'll just go and find the
I
milk.
ride in the morning.
You want some sugar in that?
Wouldn't mind a bit.
Sorry?
Yes, please.
One?
Just one is
7.
fine.
Yeah, can I get one of
Oh, morning,
Actually, thank you.
One in there?
Yes,
I sing the old black tea.
Yeah, we're off the top.
And I let them run free. Hey, back in Jimmy Billy up. Talk of your whiskey, talk of your beer, something much nicer than waiting. It's on the high beneath the tree. Walk up here in your chest and carry us through you. Every day it's your and the fire I set, and the water I get, or beef and damper, the order I set. No, so on the honeybee, wait till it's ready, the old Billy. Talk of your whiskey, talk of your beer, something much nicer than the way to be. Talk of the fire, blue something much nicer than a billy of
Not that, not the beam seed, right?
Don't fill up the sum. We'll skip that scene. Now, you gotta tell me it's not so bad land. And all you bear, spirits go free. Darling, all talk of your whiskey, talk of your beer.
You're welcome.
Fire, faith comes to rain. Nothing much nicer than a billy of tea. You all get a cup of tea?
Maybe I grabbed the coffee. I did, I grabbed the coffee.
I didn't hear when you said that.
Yeah, the cup's on the left.
Well, I didn't hear that. Man, that tea is so
All right.
You speak English? Hey, no, I was speaking.
Well, you're having your cup of tea.
Bowlers are still vibrating.
Yeah, great.
I'll sing you a private song. This song comes from the cattle. It's all about a cattle drover. And in case of envy for guys like this, well, tonight's barbecue might have been quite different, mate. The song's called The Diamond Feeder Drover. It's about a fella who left the city life and went off in search of money, really. His wife and family left in Sydney. He went off bush to try and make a lot of money. He was just going to go back to Sydney, but he left his wife and family, and he was going to go back there and I guess settle down and live happily ever after. But what really happened was he didn't make that much money, so he did a few more trips, and then he did a few more, and that's how he ended up spending his life, working in the bush. And he used to mostly correspond with his family back in Sydney. And the bush gets people like that. A song called The Diamond Feeder Drover. Faces in the photographs are faded. Can't believe you look so much like me, and a day ago I left Roll Cork Station. Said I won't be back till the droving's done. It seems to me the sun comes up each morning, sets me up and then it takes it all away. And a dreaming by the light of a campfire at night ends with a burning light. For the rain never falls on the dusty diamond. Drover finds it hard to change his mind. For the years have surely gone, just like the great small Cork Station. Said I won't be back till the droving's done. Sometimes things I'll settle back in Sydney. It's been so long and it's hard to change your mind. For those cattle tracks, they go on and on, fences roll on forever. I won't be back when the droving's done. For the rain never falls on the dusty diamond Tina. Drover finds it hard to change his mind. For the years have surely gone, just like the great old Cork Station. I won't be back when the droving's done. No, I won't be back when the droving's done. Thank you. Written by a guy called Hugh MacDonald. 2 years ago now. I was looking for a cup of tea, but I didn't get one. Is that just a cup of tea? Cheers. I did.
I put one on the drum there.
Cheers. Now, on your travels around this vast country so far, have you come across emus yet? No. No? You know what emus are? You know how they fly?
Don't fly.
Oh, they don't fly. Good. Good. That's the right answer. All right, you're quite right. They don't do a lot of flying. But what they can do, in fact, is they can run very, very fast. And the words of this song, they can actually run the pants off a kangaroo. Well, let me tell you of an interview with an old man emu. He's got a beak and feathers and things and a poor old bird with got no wings. Well, aren't you jealous of the wedge-tailed eagle? Well, the eagle's flying round and round. I've got 3 feet firmly on the ground. Now, I can't fly, but I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. I can't fly, but I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. Can't look the loop like a cockatoo. Surf the toss like an albatross. Silly galah, better my father a white cockatoo or a budgerigari. Squeak and squawk and try to talk. Me and them's like cheese and chalk. He can't fly, but I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. Well, the dingo, he came around one day. And he said, you wanna play? He was too quick for him. Walked right up and kicked him in the shin. I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. Well, the last time I saw old man emu, he was chasing a female emu. He shot father, heard him say, well, she can't fly, I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. She can't fly, I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. Well, there's a moral to this ditty. Just can sing, but she ain't pretty. Duck can swim, but she can't sing. Okay, but on the way, hey, you can't fly, I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. And the kookaburra laughed and he said, it's true. Can't fly, I'm telling you, from the pants of a kangaroo. Now, what I've forgotten to tell you, of course, the most important thing of the night is that I do have some CDs for sale. You've been wondering about it, haven't you? You've been wondering where you must have CDs. Well, I do. And all the songs you've heard tonight, and you hear one more to go, but tonight are all on here, plus a few extra ones. And they're only $20. Now, I don't care if they're Yankee dollars or Aussie dollars. It doesn't bother me. A few years ago, it didn't seem to bother you people either, but I guess it's changed now. So $20. Now, what I tell people, and I tell them in all honesty, because I am trying to sell these things, but if after several listenings of this thing, you don't like it, I mean, it's never happened, let me put this never happened. But my name and address and the contact details are all in there. You can send it back to me with your name and address, then I'll send you back a CD I don't like.
That's cute.
And I am seriously trying to sell them. I've got boxes of them, you know. Now, at this point of the night though, I worry a little bit about your digestive systems. Because you've been sitting down there all night and had a bit to eat and drink. Then you're going to get up from there. You're going to get on the coach, and we hope you're going to sit down again. Then you go back to your hotel. For all I know, you'll all go to bed. I don't need to know. Too much information, but what I do worry about is tomorrow morning when you get up. I'd like to think you'll be all fresh as daisies and fit as fiddles. And to that end, what we're going to do now is give you a little bit of exercise to sort of settle down your digestive juices, all right? So what you're going to do is what we call out here the bush aerobics.
Bush aerobics.
Now Jen's coming out to give me a hand here. I'll give you a hand. But what you need to know, you know what the aerobics are, don't you?
Yeah.
Nothing like that, but you do have to stand up. Standing up on your feet. There, right there, right there. Now, being the bush aerobics, of course, it's a little bit more laid back because you get a little rest in between each bit of exercise, right? Because we're just doing the chorus. So it is fairly important that during the chorus, you put any drinks down. Otherwise, it could get a bit messy, all right? Because the chorus goes like this. Are we ready?
Yes.
Give me a home among the gum trees. Lots of plum trees. That's it, lots of plum. A boat or two and a kangaroo. Goes right out the back and I'll go around the front. Slow, rocking chair. One more time for the slow ones. Here you go. Give me a home among the gum trees. Well, lots of plum trees. A bullock or two and a kangaroo. A clothesline out the back and a balloon out the front. Slow, rocky chair. When the chorus comes around, just keep your eye on Jenny here. He's spot on. I've been around the world a couple of times and many more. Seen the sights I've had to life on every foreign shore. But when we make so I say the place that I know. I tell them, right now, where you ready? You have among the gum trees, lots of plum trees. I will go to the kangaroo, I go climb out the back, I read around the front, I go a rocking chair. See me in the kitchen, nothing up around. I bet you bottle toast, shoot me the cup of tea. Maybe the rum will slow down and then upon the plate. I watch the bosses play all together. Yeah, I'm among the gum trees, lots of plum trees. I pull a good two and I kangaroo, I pull sign out the back, I read around the front. I don't know, a rocking chair. There's a safe way round the corner, only down the street. A brand new place they open up, and when you like your meat, and trade them on tomorrow, a single moon retreat. The kookaburras call. Kookaburras? Hey. Yeah, I'm among the gum trees, lots of plum trees. I pull a cuckoo and a kangaroo, I close right out the back. Now, what's going to happen now, Don's going to take it over by the coat somewhere, into the darkness, and point out some of the wonders of our southern skies. But before he goes, I'd like to say thanks very much. Make sure you take all your bits and pieces with you when you go, as you won't be coming back this way and the lights are going to go out. This way.